Okay. Did you like that?
I barely heard it. It
You didn't?
sounded like
Okay, never
sounded
mind.
like a raptor.
Never mind the
screeching.
horse thing. You know what? Maybe
It's a horse.
maybe I just need to give up on the sound effects because I my volume turned up. Blah blah blah. Did I have it turned up on the
When I
iTunes?
first
Never
came
mind.
into the green room, I was able to hear you listening to a YouTube video about Dell and Bantam books or something.
Oh yeah, that's a. I'll tell you about that later.
Well,
Okay?
if you can do whatever you did there, that sounded just.
Well, I don't know why that
enough.
sounds good. And anyway, what are we talking about? We got a lot of stories to get through tonight.
Yeah.
Welcome,
Hi, everyone.
welcome everyone to Study Hall. For those of you not watching the big game, okay, or is the big game over at this point? I don't know.
Probably over with.
Are you a football fan, Troy Pacelli?
Not
really. I don't get into sports. I did try hockey years ago.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I used to play floor hockey. I wasn't really good at skating. I was on a soccer team when I was in grade school.
We were all on soccer teams.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, and I used to enjoy the sports that I did in like physical education class. But nah, I certainly never followed it as spectator sports.
Yeah, like as close I got to was hockey and professional wrestling, if that counts, which I would argue it does, or maybe not.
Sure.
I always argue professional wrestling, especially when the professional wrestling I grew up with was like the modern day circus. That's how I always used to react to it.
I think the problem that most people have, the ones that say, it's fake, is as we are conditioned to think of sports as being something competitive where the outcome is not known in advance. So you have a chance of altering the outcome, a winner and a loser. Whereas, professional wrestling is more of a scripted, in quotes, reality show,
Oh. Okay. Yeah.
Or did you not know that?
Whatever.
I certainly agree with the people who say it's every bit as physical as any other sport.
Oh, yeah.
You need to be an athlete. That's absolutely true, but it's not a competition. It's theater. It's just a very, very physical theater.
Yeah. Well, I grew up with the Attitude Era. Do you remember that at all? With Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Oh, sure.
Going after Vince McMahon. But back when it was the most un-PC thing you could imagine, I remember that. Because back then people got fed up with PC stuff and they had a reaction to it. But we're living in
hopefully we'll see the same thing happen again. But right now, unfortunately, the powers that be, are exerting the whole wrong think. You get deplatformed, you lose your job, you whatever. Honestly, it's very, very scary time.
Yes. So, but we're gonna keep you guys happy. We'll all get through it. Oh, look, Brian Gilmartin says he used to watch pro wrestling himself. Great. Let me say hello to chat. Auditor Dread, hello. Jade Master Zootopia, Horizon Talker, Trooper F92525, Melissa Harris.
Yep.
Let's see, did I miss anybody? I'm sure Nanette's here, isn't she?
Actually, she's not. I don't think she realized that we started. She was busy doing some personal projects today.
Well, that's fine.
She'll catch up eventually.
Daniel Heron, hello. Anti-super football people. Oh, we're not anti it. It's just that part of the fun of going to a Super Bowl party. Super Bowl is going to a party, and you can't really do that these days. So we're all stuck inside. And apparently, they from what my family's telling me, like there are no other competing shows on tonight. Okay, even PBS doesn't have All Creatures Great and Small on tonight, which I've been watching with. I like it. Okay, it's about the doctor that helps the animals. Okay, anyway.
Yeah,
but they
wasn't that with Peter Davison?
They had a version with Peter Davison. Maybe I'll track that one down. This is a new version. I think there's a rule they have to remake everything once every 10 years. Okay.
I did not know that. Yeah.
How many Jane Austen remakes has the BBC done? Okay. Not that any of them are bad or worse than the other. Just I find it.
I feel like at this point with those kinds of classic literature, the only way you should be remaking them is by throwing zombies into it. I think that Pride and Prejudice and Zombies was genius. We need more of that.
Oh, I had an idea. Oh, you know what it was? My idea was All Creatures Great and Small but with murder. Okay.
Oh, so like he's solving murder
He's
cases,
solving
but he's a
murders in the
veterinarian,
town,
yeah.
like, he's helping out, but then there's a murder. Because the big joke is that on Masterpiece Mystery, they keep doing all these television shows that I almost feel like the mystery is secondary to the main story, which is about, like the Anglican priest that's in love with a married woman or something, and it's a soap opera, and it's like, no, it's a it's a murder mystery, and you're focusing on all this other stuff. The mystery is secondary, and they do this all the time. It's like, just do your drama show and forget about the murder, okay? It's like, don't
that is kind of funny. Yeah, no, you're absolutely right.
Okay, but I watch a lot of BBC stuff because I don't know why. I guess because they're the only ones producing things lately. Anyway, so hello everyone. We have a lot of stories to go through tonight. You asked me what I'm sipping on.
What are you sipping on?
It's another watermelon drink.
Oh, really?
I drank the fruit punch last night. They're the big Arizona cans. I saved these. They have antioxidants in them. Very good for you.
That sounds like a healthy thing. Sure.
They're probably not. They're probably mostly sugar, but it's my cheat day. So okay.
Auditor Dread was asking if I had cracked open the Kraken. I did the booze 2 nights in a row, and it's a school night now, so I need to temper it. So it's just Diet Cherry Coke.
If ever there's a day they should give off, it's probably the day after the Super Bowl, right?
Yeah, I mean that used to be the case. I don't know how many people now are,
Is that like the most call-in sick day, the day after the Super Bowl?
It used to be.
Okay.
Nowadays, I mean, tomorrow, I can't imagine a lot of people will be, because how many people are watching the Super Bowl and drinking and partying? Almost nobody. It's not something you want to do by yourself at home.
No, it's not fun. I guess you could get a bunch of everyone could get a bunch of tablets and set them up and have different people's faces on them, and have them on little robot machines running around your house, pretend like you have guests.
Yeah,
right?
like John Burns' version of Krypton is how I see our world turning into.
Oh no! Krypton fell. Yeah, but anyway.
Yeah, I mean, when it blew up, everyone was like, "Oh, thank goodness," I mean, but Auditor Dread is suggesting Abraham Lincoln, Vampire Hunter. I heard that the book was good. I did not see the movie. I heard the movie wasn't all that great.
I saw the movie. That came out the same year as Lincoln. And I remember I had a friend who was like, you want to see the Lincoln movie? Is that the one where he fights the vampires? No, it's the other one, the Spielberg one. Okay.
That's funny.
All right.
Yeah, no. So was Vampire Hunter any good?
I've only watched it once, so maybe that should be an indicator. But
maybe
we got stories to talk about tonight. Hold on. I have all the news junk opened up from what I was doing. How sometimes maybe an elderly person might open up 110 different tabs on their computer, and they say, "Why is my computer running so slow?" You there?
Yeah, exactly. Okay, Nanette has done that to me, and it'd be like, "Why do you have 25? What do you call it? Tabs open? There's your problem right there."
All right. So our first story of tonight, we have a Streaming Wars update. You excited?
What do I care about Apple?
I have a story to tell about this because something happened to me today while
tell
reading
me
this
all about
article. Okay. So here we go. Latest in the Streaming Wars. Do we like the Streaming Wars? Are we excited about buying 110 different streaming services for your TV?
No, we've been saying all along, nobody's going to do that.
Oh, and apparently CBS is having another spat with my satellite company. Which means any subscribers did not get to see the Super Bowl today unless they purchased CBS All Access, or as you like to call it,
All Extortion.
Yes, okay. And who knows, I may end up getting CBS All Access just to watch Bull if this keeps up, because I'm sorry, I need my Bull.
Dude, first get yourself a VPN, and then I'll explain to you how you can see your TV shows without having to pay premium.
We won't mention that on the stream.
Through a VPN, you can do it legally.
Okay, all right. Let me get this on here. Hold on. Well,
what I should point out, however, is that the Aged Boomer Show is not sponsored by any VPN service. But if one would like to sponsor him, we'd be all for that.
I will say this, though. If I were to get CBS All Access again, though, I would be able to watch season 2 of Picard and give weekly summaries on it.
You can watch it, so we don't have to.
Oh no, you have no idea. He's a robot now. Anyway, we won't talk about Picard. And
Exactly.
why app? Okay, big article. Why Apple TV Plus is still sputtering as NBC's Peacock Netflix subscribers soar. Well, Netflix is still the top dog in town. Okay.
And see, this is sometimes I wonder, and maybe you would actually have a better impression about this. I feel like there are times that networks, services, franchises do very well because they've historically done well. Okay. I remember back in the 80s when I was all, I want to buy American. And my uncle, who worked for an American company that made parts for a Japanese car company, said, it doesn't really work the way you think it does anymore. If you want to buy American, you want to employ American people, maybe you should think about buying a Honda, because all those parts are made here in America.
Because a Japanese company, but they buy the parts from America. Okay.
And so the paradigms change and people don't realize that. Netflix is a perfect example of a paradigm that's kind of changed. It used to be they had all your movies, all your DVDs, all your TV shows that were on DVD, you could get it from Netflix. And slowly over time, companies have kind of started to take their stuff back, and Netflix has a smaller and smaller pot. And I think people are still going to Netflix feeling like, the momentum is still there for Netflix. But I don't know. Maybe I'm overestimating that theory. I think at this time, it's still the case that you're right. Netflix is still chugging along because people believe it, like a flywheel,
Yeah, I mean, and they do bring out original content, I think, on a regular basis. I mean, no new Stranger Things, but they have other stuff on there. They're putting a lot of documentary style series on there.
Honestly, I don't think any of them, even Disney, is not putting out enough new content to really merit, the subscriber numbers these companies really, really need.
I would argue, though, at least with Disney, it looks like they're trying, and
Disney's coming close. Yeah.
Actually, what was surprising about this article was that Peacock they added an impressive 11 million signups to its fledgling Peacock streaming service. This is from the article. They're doing better. They're almost matching. They're on par with HBO Max. I have a feeling they're on par with HBO Max, and they didn't have to do as much as HBO
Boomer,
Max did.
I'm gonna do the same thing I do every time I hear numbers like that. 1 million subscribers. Woo! How many of those are actually paid subscriptions that are actually going to stay with them for any length of time? Right?
We're going to get into that.
And how much of it is? Well, I got this as a freebie with the other thing that I.
We're going to get into that. Like I said, anyway. I'm just going to say it looks like Peacock is going to add The Office. It landed January 1st, and they're going to add the WWE's Library in March. I'm very curious what they mean by the WWE's Library. Does that mean like all the wrestling events through decades?
I'm curious what they mean by The Office. To me, The Office is a British show.
Yeah, well, apparently Ricky Gervais did star on did show up on the American Office. That I always meant to check that out.
Most of these British shows that get remade over here in the United States, they usually have the same team at least start the show out, but I have seen that it doesn't always translate very well. There was a wonderful British show that I loved. Lasted for 4 seasons. It was called Coupling. It was written by Stephen Moffat. It was the whole show was run by Stephen Moffat. It was brilliant. It was hysterical. I loved it. They literally remade shot for shot with the same sets the first episode here in the United States with American actors. And it was terrible. I can rewatch the British one, the British pilot over and over and over again. And I laughed myself to tears every time, even knowing the jokes are coming. I watched the American one and I was like, why is this not funny? It's the same joke.
It's weird. Like I said, Ty West often argued that he loved the Gus Van Sant Psycho movie because he said it was a brilliant experiment in film. Because he says if someone were to go and basically reshoot the Alfred Hitchcock movie shot by shot, would it have the same effect? And it doesn't.
And it doesn't. No.
And he said he was actually glad Gus Van Sant made that movie because it actually proved something.
Yeah.
That it just was something about Hitchcock directing it. And I mean, granted, it was in color too. I didn't hate everything about that remake either. I thought that the William H. Macy performance and that was actually very good. But as the inspector that was investigating, but yeah, other than that, but it's kind of a waste.
Well,
but,
it's another one where the parts were all good, but the sum of the parts just didn't click. And I feel that's the same thing with the show I'm talking about. And I see that a lot with these shows that get remade here.
But all I can tell you is I did used to watch The Office, and it was a very funny show. And I have a feeling the American version became its own thing. I haven't seen the British version, but I'm figuring the British version probably made fun of, you know, these things in British society, whereas The Office was more taking pot shots at American culture, you know. So like how American office life worked as opposed to British office life. That's probably what they were both kind of poking fun at. But
yeah, good point.
I enjoyed it. And like I said, though, if they have all those wrestling events, that might be tempting to pick up for if you can watch all, like, you know, Hulk Hogan versus Macho Man, you know, just, I don't know. Anyway, we want to go. This article goes on forever before we get to Apple TV Plus. Okay. And we wonder what Apple TV Plus does to stand out in an increasingly competitive and crowded field. And to make matters more difficult for the tech giant, it seems to have a freeloader problem, with 62% of its subscribers signed up through a free promotional offer.
Bingo.
Do you know what this free promotional offer was?
No.
Get a free year of Apple TV Plus is gifted to buyers of its hardware devices with the hope of renewal.
There you go.
But according to Moffett Nathanson report, 29% of those who signed up through a free offer said they do not plan to resubscribe once the promotional period ends. I'm reading this article this afternoon while trying to compile the notes, and I'm like, I got a Mac for Christmas.
Yeah.
I mean, I chipped in half the money, but I mean, basically, and I'm like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. I should be entitled to this. I should get this free year. I then start figuring out, how do I get my free year of Apple TV Plus? I have a story to tell. Okay.
Please.
Okay,
No, that's actually better than the actual
probably
news
better
article.
than the article. I can give you hands-on what I had to go through this afternoon. Okay. So I go and I have to download the Apple TV Plus app for the Mac, and then I'm on, it says free 7-day trial, then $5.99 or $5 a month or something. And I'm like, well, I don't want to sign up for this. I want the year. I don't want 7 days.
Yeah.
Why isn't this showing up? I checked my email.
Yeah.
There was an email from January 1st, like when I first set up this Mac, and it's like, you can get a free year of Apple TV Plus. I'm like, okay, great. Click on the link. Same thing, 7 days. And I'm like, I go on Apple's website.
Yeah.
I do that thing where you type in your question, and it's like,
I think I see where this is going.
and
This
it's
is going
like,
to be a
oh,
boomer
what's your
story,
problem?
yeah.
Oh, do this. No, it's not working. I need to talk to somebody. Can I email somebody? We can put you through to a chat. Fine. I start chatting with the guy. Okay. We'll call him Gary. That's not his name. Okay. And I have to admit, I don't know how the people at Apple work. It's like talking to like a Disney representative. Okay. They're very chipper.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Because they're working off of scripts.
Okay, yeah, and like he goes, hi, how can I help you? Well, I heard that if you get an Apple product, you're entitled to one free year of Apple TV Plus, but I can't seem to get it to work. And he's like, oh, yes. Did you get an Apple product recently? Yeah, I got a Mac for Christmas. Oh, well, congratulations. You know,
yeah.
You know, it's like, oh, man, you're probably rolling your eyes right now, aren't you?
No, I know exactly the kind of.
No, I know. And I'm like, yes, but anyway, can you help me? And he's like, okay. And we had to go through all things. I have to go talk to another person over at iTunes. I now have to go talk to a senior representative. It becomes this whole thing, okay? And then he asks, you know, can I have, have the? I sent a PDF of the original email. I sent a copy of the receipt from what it was purchased. I sent the serial number over, my birth certificate, social security number. I'm kidding on those last two.
Blood type.
My point is that he's asking for all this stuff.
Medical record.
Then finally I get the code and redeem it. And I'm like, okay, thank you. I have my free year of Apple TV Plus. And he's like, oh, great. Hope you enjoy it. I said, yes, I look forward to watching Greyhound. No, I said that because I want to know his reaction to me. And he goes, yeah, gotta love that Tom Hanks. I'm like, yes, okay. It might be a good movie. It's the Tom Hanks movie about the fleet of ship. I think it's a ship or a submarine, or I don't know. Anyway, it's World War II movie. Anyway,
and did you find out that it actually expires, in December or something like
no,
that?
it'll expire a year from now, but then they'll start charging.
Okay.
You have to cancel. I also read a warning to somebody online. Some places you can just cancel your subscription and it rides out.
Yeah.
You do that, you lose it. Okay, so in the new year, I'll have to cancel it. If not, I'll get charged 5 simoleons. So I'm not going to do that. Okay.
Wow.
I went and inspected what was on Apple Plus. Okay, to see. Well, here's the big competition. There's nothing on there.
No, hey, for free, it's worth it, right?
For free, yeah. You get Greyhound, which looks like a good movie. Okay.
You'll notice, however, that after the story you just told us, it wasn't free. That's an hour of your life you'll never get back.
I was actually compiling the notes for this stream tonight while I was chatting with this guy, because the guy said, "I'll be right back. Have some patience." It was took like an hour.
Yeah.
Okay. It's so I'm like, you might as well just start compiling your notes while you're waiting. Okay. And I'm looking on here, and there's a Justin Timberlake, I guess, feel-good indie type flick.
Sure.
There's a Werner Herzog documentary about meteorites that hit the Earth. That might be good. Okay. There is actually this I'm a little excited about. There is a Peanuts Gang in Outer Space series and a Snoopy series, which they just unrolled now. Now, I know Charlie Brown may not seem much to people, but Charlie Brown is like my comfort food. Okay.
Well, I like Charlie Brown. I'm a little worried about this in space part of it, though.
Here's the thing. Last time I checked, provided the widow of Charles Schultz, that's the guy's name, but provided his widow is still alive, very stringent at how these characters are treated in film media. If you want to get the license, you have to be very careful. They're people have to be very careful of how these characters get portrayed. Okay.
Yeah.
No nonsense. No
the
deviating
Tolkien
too much from
used to be the same way too.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I don't know what they are like now, but is Christopher still alive, or I don't know.
I have no idea.
Anyways,
I don't know how involved he is in it.
But and that's about it. There's a Foundation series in the works for it. I get that based on the Asimov novels. So maybe that'll be good. Maybe not.
Maybe.
Or maybe it'll be like Picard.
And maybe monkeys will fly out of my butt.
Hey, you never know. Maybe just one thing. Can we have one thing that's not messed up when they're reporting it over? Okay.
I'll tell you what. If we ever do get something like that, I'll be the first one cheering.
Well, I'll let you know, because I'll probably end up watching it. Maybe I should read the books first, just so I know how much they deviate. I did read iRobot. I did like that, but that's not what they're doing. Okay. What is it? Got some people talking to me. Aside from The Office, what else? What else is offer at Peacock? I assume the latest NBC series, Universal movies. I would expect Universal Studios movies like Fast and the Furious, and I'm sure there'll be plenty of original content coming to Peacock. I don't know what's on Peacock. Okay, it's nothing. Nothing's on Peacock probably. Okay.
Reruns of Chicago Fire and
there
Chicago,
you go. There you go. I don't know. I saw the commercial and the guy says Peacock, baby, and I'm like, just I don't know.
That sounds kind of cringy, actually.
Tolkien is gone and the estate seems rudderless. That's how Amazon got the license. Okay, I guess the son is no longer in the picture, at least not in a capacity to make things happen.
Yeah.
Okay, that's not good. Okay, because he was. Can you imagine Charlie Brown kicking the football in space? You know what? I'm going to watch the show and I will let you know if that happens. Okay.
Actually, if I was in space and I was Charlie Brown, screw the ball. I'd kick the girl and send her flying.
Feel like that scene in Superman 2 where the woman kicks the astronaut. The
exactly.
Ursa kicks it.
Exactly.
Kicks Lucy out into space. Oh man. Okay.
That would be awesome.
So, are we excited for Apple TV Plus? You got to maybe wait on that a little bit, Troy.
Oh, let me rush out and get an Apple.
Okay. Well, all right. We got
machine.
more TV news. Okay, let's move along. Nobody cares about Apple TV Plus.
No, because most people use real computers.
You don't have to use a computer. I put it on the Roku player. I have to see if I can put it on my. It'd be funny if I can put it on my.
What is Roku?
It's a streaming device. It's the most popular streaming device you can buy to plug into your TV. How do you watch your stuff on your TV?
On my computer. I have my computer plugged into the TV.
Oh my. Okay. Well, I kind of.
And most of that stuff is available on my phone too.
Okay. Well, anyways, I have a Roku player. Roku players.
I'm not just being Johnny Lawrence here. I see no reason to have to know this stuff since I have the.
Do you know what an Amazon Fire Stick is? It like predated
no,
the
is
Fire
it like
Stick.
Firewater?
It's a thing you plug into your HDMI port and it allows you to stream channels on it. It's a neat little device. To be fair, most TVs have the stuff already included because most are smart now. But if you don't have a smart TV, you can just plug your device into. In fact, Roku got smart.
We don't even have a smart viewer over here, let alone a smart TV.
Excuse me.
Well, okay, that's true.
We're talking about, we have new news. Okay, are you excited? Wakanda TV series in the works for Disney Plus with Black Panther director Ryan Coogler. I almost burped. Maybe I should have though.
Yay! Okay. We're gonna have a Wakanda show about Black Panther, but without Black Panther.
Maybe it'll be, if they did it about his dad and did it in the past, that could be interesting.
Yeah.
Like made it
actually, okay. You got
that
me
would
there,
be the way to do it.
Going with it. Sure,
be like his father. What his father did when he was the Black Panther. Maybe we can get the actor that played his father when he was younger in that pre-scene in the movie. I could see them doing that.
That might be kind of neat. Yeah, sure.
I could see them doing like a prequel series and about them having to keep Wakanda a secret. I don't know. Maybe that wouldn't be good, but that'd be the only way they could do it, though. I don't think, because if they can't have the Black Panther in it, you need to have the Black Panther in it, even if it's the previous Black Panther. That's the one thing you can do, because it's a generational thing. So there were other Black Panthers before the current one. You could even set it a couple hundred years in the past if you wanted to. True. But I don't know what they're going to do. Okay. True. They're actually, if you think about it, there's a lot they could do with this series. We'll see what they do, though, right?
Yeah, this is one of those things that's right on a knife edge. On you go one way, it could be really, really good. You go the other way, it could really, really be bad. There really is no middle ground. Yeah.
I mean, heck, you could do a different season. Each season could be a different century of the country. That might be interesting. But
that would, make it an anthology kind of thing.
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't
like see the start of Wakanda and then go on each century after. I don't know. See how they developed over time. I don't know. But
but I don't know. At the same time, I was saying there's no way there could be a middle ground, but actually, I take that back. It could be another version of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. where it's just meh.
Like you never get to see the regular hero. It's just the unsung heroes behind the scenes, right?
Right.
Doing the stuff.
It's just the janitor and the secretary and
I would argue that in some ways, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., though, that I am still kind of a fan of that show. I thought the last season was a little weak, but part of the problem is you could tell the show probably got less of a budget each season.
I did.
It went on, but
my understanding
I like the actors on it.
I guess the writing was pretty good because
writing was solid. Yeah,
I heard a commentary about the last season, and I guess they did some stuff with time travel that was actually pretty good. They had a lot of things set up in previous seasons that had payoffs at the end.
Yeah,
it's just they lost me before we got to the end, so I never got to any of those.
They even sort of did a follow up with the Agent Carter series. They had a character from that show because they go back to like that time, so they run into one of the characters from the Agent Carter show.
Wow.
Which did you watch the Agent Carter show?
I did. I loved that show.
Yes. Yeah. Do you remember
that one really bothered me when they canceled that one?
Do you remember the guy? Oh, go ahead.
Mm-hmm. No, I just was like, we're going to keep going with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., which is barely holding my interest, and you're going to cancel Peggy Carter? Screw you guys.
Again, like I said, I imagine that was Peggy Carter more expensive to make too. I wondered about that because
it's tough when you're trying to do a period piece
because it's period. It was really good with the period stuff too. I mean, but what they did was they had remember the guy who was the amputee from
the dude that he was in Dollhouse.
Yeah. They run into him, and he's one of the earliest agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. And they because they do an episode where they go back to the 50s and they run into him, and he's known in the history books as the first fallen hero of S.H.I.E.L.D. because he got killed, right? And he ends up getting killed by Hydra. They didn't know who did it, but it turns out it was Hydra. And because at this point, S.H.I.E.L.D. doesn't know Hydra's mixing up inside them,
Right.
But they're like, we have to have history play out, and this guy has to die. Okay.
Yeah.
And then finally, toward the end of the episode, Agent Coulson says, no, we're Shield. We don't leave one of our agents behind.
Right.
And they did it so it looked like he died.
No
and they
paradox.
took the body away, so they don't have the paradox. So he's still technically dead in the history books.
Yeah.
And they take him with them to the 70s, okay, because they go into different decades.
Oh, I see.
And I thought that was nice, and he survives the series, and now he's in the present day. So I thought that was kind of neat. Okay.
What, as an older guy, did he like age up from the 70s?
Just like no, because they're time travel.
He continues.
Yeah, we went in the ship. They time traveled. Actually, there was a robot that, like an android, or like an alien robot that was part of their team, and he kept getting left behind. And he doesn't age, but he kept being left behind in the decades. You know, like he would just stay behind. It was like the Marvin the Paranoid Air.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah. It wasn't bad. You know what? I'm thinking back on last season. It actually wasn't that bad.
Is it on DVD? Maybe I'll start going back and rewatching.
Probably, if not, yeah. I mean, I wouldn't. You know, yeah, I would check it. I don't know if the final season is, but if it isn't, it probably will be soon.
Sure.
But yeah, and I'm trying to think what else happened. What were we talking about? We're talking about Wakanda. This is what happens. You get me talking about Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I'm as bad
I was typing in the stream. See how I get him off topic? This is how we can never get through our notes.
That was like the first thing, like the first time I ever showed up in a Professor Geek chat. Like he's talking about, I was saying, I like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. too, and Mac is an inspirational hero. Or an aspirational hero. And he said, yes, he is, because Mac is just a good guy, okay, on the show.
Sure.
I don't know if you know who Mac is, but anyway, he's
sure I do. Yeah.
Okay. But anyway. Okay, but enough agency on Wakanda, not much to say. The director says it's an honor partnering with the Walt Disney Company, working with them on Black Panther was a dream come true. As avid consumers of television, we couldn't be happier to be launching our television business, Bob Iger. I don't like this term consumer. Fans of television, watchers, don't say consumer. I feel like I'm eating something. It's no.
But at the same time, I see a positive aspect to that. Okay, we want them to start realizing where their money comes from. That's the problem that they've been having for so long. They've been feeling like they're the ones with the power and they can dictate to us. Remember, we're the consumer. We are the ones with the money. You want our money, you got to give us what we want. You don't do that, you go broke.
Yeah.
You know.
Okay. All right. But so
always looking for the silver lining for you.
Silver lining. And to be fair, this is of course just corporate speaking out, but maybe the show will be good. Like I said, if they were to do like a past thing where they do a history of Wakanda, there's a lot to play around with there. And you don't have to worry about the whole, what do we do about not having Black Panther on a show that needs to have Black Panther on it? You just have other Black Panthers because it was a lineage, right?
Yeah.
So just do that, and there you go. But we'll see what happens.
But as far as my overall first reaction, you know how I am. You hope for the best, but at this point, I'm prepared for the worst because, you know, it's what we've been seeing mostly, you know.
Well, we'll see what happens. Okay, but all right. So now we can move on to we're keep going on. Now we're into Warner Brothers territory.
Yeah. So
am I wrong, or is Warner Brothers like watching a car crash in slow motion?
Yeah, you know, but in extremely slow motion. I mean, it's like you can walk around and look at it from different angles and, you know, come back a week later and not much has changed. It's really bizarre. So
Warner Brothers used to be my favorite movie company. I'm not kidding you here. I thought everything they touched turned to gold.
Yeah.
And they still, some of the movies that they're going to make HBO Max exclusive actually do look good. We'll mention one of them later tonight.
Yeah.
But, you know, but this latest news article from Wall Street Journal, well, this isn't the Wall Street Journal, but it was reported from NME.
Yeah, well, you sent me 3 notes about Christopher Nolan. It's like, okay, all Christopher Nolan, all night.
He was big in the news this week. We like Christopher Nolan. You like Memento, so you must like him a little bit. Okay?
Yeah, I mean, I like Memento. I mean, he's
that's still his best movie as far as I'm concerned.
I guess he did an okay Batman. But you know, it still left a lot to be be desired.
At least he got his actor to get in the right shape for the part. Anyway, we'll talk about that. Okay. But in a new article in the Wall Street, a source reportedly connected to the matter. It's a source, so this could be a rumor.
Yeah.
But probably not. After spending years as a top Warner Brothers director, Christopher Nolan, who wrote and directed last year's Tenet, is unlikely to return to the studio with his next project, in part because he has disappointed with the studio. He was disappointed with the studio's hybrid distribution strategy for 2021, according to people familiar with the matter.
Yeah.
I don't think that's odd, and
I'll say this in his favor. You know, he wasn't just blowing smoke. He really felt strongly about something, and he's, you know, showing every appearance of sticking to it. You know, if you're gonna shoot off your mouth and go after a company, then I don't want to see you go working for that company again the following year. You know,
he's one of the few people who can just dump Warner Brothers and still survive and be successful. I think.
True.
Okay, because I think he does have that much clout. I mean, I'm sorry. I love movies, but when I think of a lot of movies that I watched, at least until recently, for years, I was like, I liked that movie. I didn't know who the director was. When I was growing up, I always knew who the director was of a movie. Okay.
Right.
And I feel that because a lot of the Hollywood model, I feel, has become more producer driven.
Yeah.
That the director's kind of getting lost in the shuffle. Okay. And but Nolan, you can tell when Nolan makes a movie and what is a Nolan movie, whether you like his style or not. He does have a style. You know, it's not just something that was made on an assembly line. Okay.
Yeah.
But and apparently he might end up going to other studios. So there's speculation. Next film won't be with WB. So where will it be?
I don't know. Agent Boomer, you tell me.
All right, I got the quotes here. Hold on, I'm doing the cutting and the pasting right now. They made a point, though, that currently there are 6 major film studios: Disney, Warner Brothers, Universal, Sony, Paramount, and Lionsgate. If we're feeling generous, we can also throw MGM into the mix. Does MGM make movies still?
I think they've become more of just a distributor than anything
I think
else.
so, because I don't know, like... Maybe I was not paying attention. Okay, but I thought they went away years. I don't know. I guess they're still around. They're being generous, so I guess they're making the same point.
Yeah,
but let's see. But they made a point that Apple is pairing with Paramount. Thank you for that tongue twister. For Martin Scorsese's 200 million Killers of the Flower Moon. So it's possible they could insert themselves into the running with a similar hybrid deal. Okay.
I'm sorry. I heard you saying that, and I heard Apple is pairing with pomegranate.
Did I say pomegranate?
No,
no,
it's just...
I don't know.
That's just how I heard it.
You have Amazon, Apple. It's all vegetation related. Okay.
Yeah, look, it's all fruits.
Amazon. Yeah, well, anyway, I'm not going to say nothing.
You know, California, the land of fruit and nuts.
There you go. Yes, yes. A lot of oranges out there, right? Okay. Amazon has shown a willingness to commit to traditional theatrical windows in the past, so they're talking about this. So, despite the increase of prevalence of streaming, it is widely expected that Nolan will land with a traditional movie studio. Okay. And but extenuating circumstances will eliminate several. Okay, that doesn't actually say much, does it? Okay.
No, it doesn't. But
okay,
if we get to the next article, maybe we get our answer.
Okay. Christopher Nolan eyes return to India for future project. I'm very curious about this.
Yeah, me too.
And I am wondering what this is about. He says that he wants to make a movie in India and wants to film in India, and I kept thinking, is this for the Indian market? Would this be a Bollywood production? I mean, that Bollywood is big from what I've heard. I mean, I don't know if I've watched so many Bollywood movies, but they're almost a movie industry unto themselves out there, right?
They absolutely are, yes.
Yeah. So Christopher Nolan filmed a portion of his espionage epic Tenet in Mumbai and loved it so much that he's already thinking of ways to incorporate a return to the country and whatever projects will follow in the future. So maybe he's just talking about just shooting more movies there because he's like shooting there, like Peter Jackson likes New Zealand.
Oh,
okay.
See, I could see that either way. Either he wants to, whatever movie company he ends up working for, do some filming in India, or make some movies for Bollywood. I don't know. I'm not.
I mean, I'd be curious. Could a Hollywood director theoretically go to India and just make a movie, even just for an Indian audience, and still be very successful?
I don't know enough about the market there. I mean, would the Indian market be open to that? I have no idea.
I wonder if they would. I don't know. Or would it be a movie made in India that was for an international market? Okay. So
We could 5-10 years down the line revisit this and be saying, look how Hollywood collapsed and all movies are now being made in India. Who knows what the future could hold?
it's not impossible. I'm a big fan of the European cinema of the 60s and 70s, especially a lot of the movies made in Italy.
Oh yeah, I agree.
Oftentimes, on many of these Italian movies, they would cast either an American actor
Mm-hmm.
as the lead or supporting, or at least an English actor as the lead or supporting, because the intention was that we were going to sell these movies internationally.
Right.
So you want recognizable stars in the movie, and you would also have your Italian actors in them as well. Or, maybe you get an actor from other European countries and you'd have like a mix. That's why they were always overdubbed. Okay.
Right.
And they'd be dubbed in English for one country, dubbed in Italian for Italy or whatever, all over the world. And they were shot to be dubbed too. That's why
I'll be honest with you. Some of those movies, I didn't realize until years later were dubbed. They're that good.
They're very well dubbed. Like The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. That's a prime example. That's
yes.
They did their best to be freshly dubbed. Now, of course, I like to watch some of the horror movies they did, and sometimes the dubbing in those is off, but that's part of the charm of them.
Yeah.
But it's not like the kung fu movies that they dubbed over here. It's not that level of bad dubbing. I mean, there's even when I hear the same voice actors over and over again, there's still a charm to it. Okay, I do like it.
And I think that just like special effects have gotten better, so we get Godzilla not looking like a guy in a rubber suit. I think the technology for editing has gotten so much better now that I think you can make things line up a lot smoother and make sound
these days. Sure.
Like that,
And it's funny that the one Italian horror movie that I watched was Blood and Black Lace, which was one of the first giallos. And I thought that the dubbing was really off. It sounded very unnatural. And I realized that it was Italian actors speaking phonetic English. They were actually speaking English, but it sounded off. I didn't know why.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and it's not. It just sounded off. But that was when they were actually, it was lining up. Do you understand?
Yeah.
I don't know. I could see them shooting movies in India, and they kind of did that with that Chris Hemsworth movie that was a big deal on Netflix. That was shot in India, where he's saving I forget. I think an Indian boy whose father was involved. I don't know if he's a corrupt politician or somebody wants to. Yeah, I think maybe he was an important businessman over there, and his competition wanted to hurt him, so they were going to kidnap his son. And he extracts the son, but that I could see having more stuff like that happen. Where
one thing that I will say, one dimension to this, the idea of filming, acting in a role and having to learn your lines phonetically in another language, it just boggles my mind. That is just something I can't even imagine being able to do. It's hard enough to learn lines when you know the language and you understand what it is you're saying.
Yeah. They said, you remember the movie Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon?
Sure.
Remember Michelle Yeoh?
Yeah.
I think that movie the language was Mandarin for that movie, I believe. And I think she spoke natural Cantonese, and she had to learn. She learned the entire language in order to play that part. That's what they said she did.
Now that's the way to do it.
And
when you have an excuse to do that too, it's like, yeah, I should probably learn this other language. Well, now I kind of need to. Guess I'm going to hunker down and do it.
She's an amazing actress, and now she's on Star Trek Discovery, and I find that so bizarre because it's like. She's like one of the leading ladies, I guess, of Hong Kong cinema. And now she's in Star
Horizon Talker points out that Arnold Schwarzenegger and Jackie Chan both had to learn their lines phonetically early on before they actually learned the language. That's absolutely true. But again, a perfect example. Both of those individuals are people I highly, highly respect. They are driven. They will do stuff like that. That is a very difficult thing to do. And it takes a great deal of determination and intelligence. And both of those guys have those things in spades.
Oh, man. I grew up on Jackie Chan and Arnold. Arnold was my big action star of the 80s, and then Jackie Chan was the 90s.
Yep.
But Arnold, though, there were some bad lines. Like, Like in the one movie, I think it was Raw Deal, where like his wife, like I think she's drinking and she's mad that they had to move out to the country, and she throws a cake she made at him, and he goes, "Don't drink and bake." I guess
you can't blame Arnold for the way something was written, but yeah, there's
bad dialogue in those old movies.
Stuff, yeah.
Like, oh man.
In fact, I saw a behind the scenes one time with Jackie Chan where he was talking about I think it was when he was doing the one with what was the one with the what's his name? Jackie Chan with no the guy do you understand the words that are coming out of my mouth?
Oh yes, Rush Hour.
Rush Hour, thank you. He was talking about doing Rush Hour, and as he was trying to learn his lines, they were trying to get him to say not nice things, and so he'd repeat back these goofy things that they were having him say, man. He was like, this better not show up on the internet, I'll come and get you.
And of course it doesn't end up in the blooper reel at the end of the movie or something.
I'm not sure if it did or not, but I think it showed up when he decided he wanted to share it because he thought it was funny, but yeah.
Oh man. I remember when they said Brett Ratner might direct a Conan the Barbarian movie, and everybody was horrified. He's the guy that directed Rush Hour and
no. I think that could be good.
No. I had a joke that you'd have like Conan there, and like they make him all dumb like a caveman. He'd be like, "Oh, Conan like peanuts," and then like you'd have Chris Tucker as his companion, and he'd do the same thing. Do you understand the words that are coming out of my mouth? Say it to Conan, and it's just oh no. Oh, but Otter Dress says, "Don't wake my friend. He's dead tired." Oh, he's Commando,
dead tired. Yeah,
Commando. Oh, that's the. I'm sorry, Commando. That's one of my favorite Schwarzenegger movies, and it's such a B movie, but it's funny. They made a point in the movie that usually in the movie the action star the guy will be on the phone in the telephone booth, and the guy will rip the guy out of the telephone booth, right?
Yep.
In this movie, Arnold lifts up the telephone booth and throws it with the guy. Oh man. Anyway, but so I don't know. Christopher Nolan moved to India. That could be interesting. Listen to me. I don't care where the movies come from. If the movie's good, I'll watch it.
At this point, you're absolutely right. I will be very happy if they get out of the Hollywood bric-a-brac and start making good movies and say, this is how it's done, dingbats.
Because one thing I do notice, especially in some other countries, they don't care about our politics and they're not going to talk about them in their movies. So that's a nice escape.
Yep.
Okay. Speaking of stuff going wrong with Warner Brothers, Fantastic Beasts production halted after positive COVID case.
Uh-oh.
I have to say,
that's still a thing, really? I thought that after the election, it all just went away.
Apparently, they are still doing shutdowns over this stuff. And I was trying to find out more details. Of course, they don't say who it was, because I was hoping that it was, like, is it one of the lead actors? Is that why they had to shut down production? Because
but that wouldn't be enough, though, because it's, everyone's so afraid of it. The guy in the cafeteria got it, so now everybody is scared and they run to self quarantine.
Movie productions are very expensive.
Yep.
Okay. Especially movie productions like this one.
Yep.
And every day you're not shooting the movie and getting further, you're getting further in the hole.
Yep.
Okay. This is like if something happens to an actor on set, like he gets into an accident, that could be a big disaster because your shooting schedule's been kicked up.
Yep.
I mean, in the old days, they used to have really strict shooting schedules. I think Hollywood has become a little more lax with that. But
the directors that could work around things and go, well, this part of our shooting schedule is shut down, so let's work on this instead, and we'll shoot around them. And if they could do that and then bring it in, on schedule, that was considered to be brilliant. Yeah. But these days, I don't know if anyone has the wherewithal to think about things like that.
I'm wondering. is everything over specialized out there in Hollywood? I don't.
I think I think we're still seeing the period in time where things are shifting. People are the films are still being filmed under the same paradigm as pre-CV. I think in the future we're going to see things filmed more like The Mandalorian,
Yes.
where you have you don't have to be on location. You can have people filmed separately and bring it all together into the editing room. And you're not going to, and that's not just because of CV. I mean, it is currently, but there are so many things, whether it's a pandemic, whether it's monsoon season in, you know, the island you wanted to film on. This actor broke his ankle. We have to film him from the waist up, and we got to have a stand-in. All of these kinds of things get smoothed over a great deal when you decentralize, if I can use that to apply to this in that way. You know, if you can film in India instead of Hollywood, you know. See me making these connections? There you go.
Yeah, it might happen. I mean, I'm telling you, I kind of wish other countries might be stepping up to the plate, because competition is good for the customer.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
Okay. And like I said, you used to get all kinds of European countries churning out movies that they would sell internationally.
Plus, we're also talking about, and I've said this before, they're still operating under the old budgets of millions and millions of dollars, expecting to make $1 billion. And it's not going to happen anymore as long as they're going to have to be releasing these things on streaming services. So that has to change too.
Yeah, have they said that they're going to release Fantastic Beasts 3 on a streaming service?
And they're going to lose money. They're just going to lose money. All of these movies that started production pre-CV are going to lose money, period. There's no way around it. Future movies that start making taking advantage of new filming techniques where the budgets come down might start to make money again. Until that happens, they're all going to lose money, period. Full stop.
Here's the quote. You want to hear the quote?
Yes.
Okay. Team member from Fantastic Beasts has tested positive for the beer bug, because I can't say that on the stream.
Too late. You already did.
I said the beer bug. I didn't say the other. Oh, did I? Oh, I did already.
When you read the title.
Well, it's not my fault. It's in the headline. No, Susan, please don't punish me. I'm kidding. Okay, now that's going to be taken out of context later. That quote. Okay, right. The diagnosis was confirmed as a result of required and ongoing testing that all production employees receive. Well, it looks like they were doing what they were supposed to be doing. Testing people to make sure they're not sick, right?
Right.
And team members currently in isolation. So it looks like they're doing, but out of an abundance of caution, Fantastic Beasts 3 paused production will be back up in accordance with safety guidelines. So what is that, 2 weeks?
Well, that also, there's another dimension here we may not be seeing. Are they still using CV as an excuse for other problems and issues behind the scene, right? Because there was, talk of recasting. There's the whole
they did recast. It's Mads Mikkelsen now.
JD and AH thing going on and whatnot, and so on and so forth. And screw it, I'm not going to be seeing this movie. Period.
A lot of people are not going to see this.
Although, sadly, I think they're going to take the wrong message. They're going to think, oh, people aren't seeing this because they don't like J.K. Rowling anymore because she has, wrong think.
No, well, there you go. They can think that, and they can go ahead and make new Harry Potter stuff without J.K. Rowling and see how that goes for you.
They can't. They legally can't.
They can't. So you're going to have to make peace with that. Another thing. What else did I want to say though? But no, a lot of people are really angry about the recasting.
Yeah, they should
be. And I'll say this, Mads Mikkelsen, he's a good actor. He would have been good in the part, but he wasn't the part as it was originally cast. And the reason, and they already paid Johnny Depp for it, though. This is what I don't.
I love that. He is, what's the old saying? He's laughing his way to the bank. Now, he's probably not laughing because, great, I got a payout, but I may never see another one ever again.
How does Warner Brothers make money?
They're not. They're gonna lose their shirts.
It's Speaking of which, we have the next story. Wonder Woman 1984 flops despite WarnerMedia's positive spin.
Shock. See my shocked face? This is my shocked face. I'm just agog.
I'll read your Xerxes. Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, you're a gag. Okay.
Exactly.
It's official. Wonder Woman 1984 is a flop. Not only that, but based on how much money the film lost and the widespread repercussions of its release, it may be the worst film of 2020. Now, granted, this is from Bounding in the Comics,
but it's still going to get all the Oscars.
Yeah, because there ain't nothing else.
Oh my gosh, that is the weird thing, right? This is the way 2020 was. The worst movie that lost the most money could actually win all of the Oscars.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
But the film did poorly in China with on opening weekend making it a paltry $18.8 million and falling behind the box office numbers for The Rescue. Yeah, we knew about that already. We talked about that before.
Yeah. The
Rescue is their big thing about the I hope a rescue happens in that movie. If it was directed by Rian Johnson, it wouldn't happen. Never mind. Okay.
Well, we'd be subverting your expectations.
They get there too late and the people are drowned in the water.
Yeah.
Okay. There's your rescue movie. Okay. But the DCEU installment performed worse in 32 other territories by raking in altogether $38.5 million. Nobody includes the $5 million in IMAX sales. Nobody liked this movie. Everyone I hear does not like this movie. Okay. So, and it didn't do good money. I think that they basically said, though, it raised the HBO Max subscribers, so it was all worth it, right?
Right. Exactly. That's
until they dropped the channel a month later, the service a month later. And other Warner Brothers, this is their television division. The CW renews Batwoman for a third season.
See, and those two together, just it boggles my mind. Wonder Woman, tanks. Now what are we gonna do? Batwoman, tanks. Let's give it another season. Yay! What?
Anyway,
I'm doing the Jackie Chan meme. The whoa.
Look, okay. I'll read it from the article. CW announced they've renewed Batwoman for a third season and 11 other scripted shows. This includes Walker, All American, Charmed, DC Legends of Tomorrow.
Charmed is still going?
It's the new Charmed.
No. That's what I mean. That should never have made it past the first season.
Yeah. I think I'm getting to figure out how the CW works. I'll get to that in a minute. The Flash, In the Dark, Legacies, Nancy Drew, Riverdale, and Roswell, New Mexico. Did they do a new Roswell series? Like a remake of the old one?
You would know better than I would, Aged Boomer.
Well, I don't watch the CW. I see.
No, I don't either.
Okay.
I do not
maybe someone in the
watch
chat
anything
knows.
On that channel. Nothing. Zero.
Troy Pacheco, my defense, there are lady friends. That's a private conversation. I apologize. Okay.
What's that?
Rotter Dread wrote back to you. Something about lady friends.
Oh, no. You know, I don't care. These days, it doesn't matter, male or female. You know, or other. You know, I'm not judging. You got to treat them the same.
Anyway, let me get back to the article. The CW announced.
I'm sorry.
Yes, because this is important. No, I think I'm figuring out why Batwoman stayed on the air, because even though Batwoman, you may think it's had like the worst rating since like second lowest ratings ever in the series history, I think it's still doing better than a lot of the other shows on there. Okay, I think it has like a medium to average rating.
It's kind of like we were just talking about with Wonder Woman. In a year where everything was crap, you can have a movie not only lose more money than any movie in history, but still win all the Oscars. It's that bizarre.
It might happen, but I still say that Fantasy Island will give it its run for its money. But we'll see. I need you to watch that remake. Anyway, CW announced Black Lightning would be canceled after its fourth and final season that will air later this year. The show had an average viewership of 655,000 for season 3 with a 0.22 rating. The season 3 premiere was watched by 891,000 people. However, by the season finale, 547,000 people tuned in.
Wait,
but they said that those are better viewership numbers than every show.
They're canceling Black Lightning, but they're keeping the Flash.
They're saying that
what
it's
does that
better.
Tell you?
What I don't know. This doesn't make sense because that's actually the second highest rated show on their network.
This is what I'm
Walker.
saying.
So
I don't think that ratings matter anymore at all. They do not care what the ratings are anymore. You will like this show. This is what we are putting out.
Why do they?
And the advertisers will pay because we're woke, and that's what makes money is woke. So give us money.
Because I don't understand, like Black Lightning, he's a famous black superhero from the DC universe, but maybe he represents the patriarchy too much. I don't know.
Right? Like, apparently,
is he an older man, like a father figure? We can't have that. I don't know what's going on here.
We got to get rid of the man, and you see that this is how intersectionalism works. It's not enough to just be a woman. It's not just enough to be a person of color. You got to be both. If you're a woman, person of color, and of the alphabet community. Now that's 3 things right there. You're good, but boy, you're a man. Forget it. You're out. You're a hetero male who's a good father. Oh, can't have that.
That's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking it could be that, and I'm thinking it's not enough. I mean, because
because heaven forbid, that community be shown, what Dr. King always said, we need positive role models, we need fathers, right?
Yeah. Well, the other week you were making a point about how we have how they're ignoring a lot of the famous, the diverse characters that already exist and just race swapping other characters. Well, this was an example of them taking one of those characters that we've known, that comic fans have known.
Oh, forget what I have to say about it. Go back and watch the last Wolf 10 Media show with Leia Plus Size. They really got into it.
Yeah,
that was a great commentary.
Yeah, but can someone explain why Batwoman got a season 3? Did someone make a deal with the devil, or does Greg Berlanti have incriminating photos on some higher ups? He's asking me. Maybe both. I don't know. We're living in a topsy-turvy world right now, and I don't understand how Batwoman gets a season 3 when the second season has barely aired yet. Usually they wait to the end of the season. Like a lot of shows I like we're always on Pins and Needles. Like they canceled Scorpion. I like Scorpion. That got canceled.
Yeah.
Did you watch Scorpion?
Never even heard of it.
Okay, well, it was a CBS show. It was another CBS show.
Yeah,
it was about the team of
it's
about the team of super smart people, and they would use their science skills to solve. Sometimes it was to solve crimes. Other times it was to save people from disasters. Like a kid is stuck in a shaft or something, and the tide is rolling in. How do we use science to get this kid out and save his life? And that was the whole episode. Okay.
Oh.
And they were funny too because they all had their weird personality quirks.
So they solved situations with science, kind of like Star Trek Discovery. I like science.
No.
Another CBS product.
Though oddly enough, Greg, I think the guy that wrote Into Darkness was a producer on the show.
There you go.
And I didn't care for Into Darkness, but I thought Scorpion was a good show. And of course, they left it on a bad finale where the team had split up and they all hate each other, and we didn't know what was going to happen next, and then we didn't get another season. So
Leia Plus Size makes a great point. I think they gave Batwoman a 3rd season because they hate people like us. They won't drink the woke Kool-Aid. Yeah, or that won't drink the woke Kool-Aid. Yeah,
I want a Batman television series. Okay,
good luck.
Instead of
you're not
getting
an anything man anything.
It'll be perfect. That's why we're losing Black Lightning. I bet that's the reason.
The only thing you are going to get from this point on from the CW is lesbians, preferably non-white. That's what you're going to get.
And angry feminist superheroes, right? No, I'm just
that's redundant. I just said that.
Yeah, I know. I'm just saying. Okay. Oh man, I know everyone's sort of excited about the Superman and Lois series, but Just
Not at all.
based on the clips I've seen from Supergirl, like Lois chiming in about all her talking points all the time. I'm like, no.
I nothing that comes from Supergirl can be any good. I told you, nothing on that network will I watch. I have not watched Flash. I would not watch well, it's not Green Arrow, it's Simple Arrow. I mean, I will not, none of it. That's why come join me over on MeWe, where I've got a group where we're rewriting the whole DC shared universe and imagining a world where it was done right.
Yeah.
See how I keep plugging my...
Oh, I see your comment, Auditor Dread. I agree, but I'll but anyway. CW Batwoman plans to ruin the Joker. I heard about it from a friend of mine. Okay, well, we'll see what happens. The Joker's really the victim. And Batman's the villain. That's how
absolutely.
They'll do it. Okay, it's like anyway, so yeah. Okay. So we're still on Warner Brothers news, and this is a story I've been wanting to cover for a while.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Do we want to move on to happier stuff, perhaps?
Go for it.
We're going at a fast clip tonight. Sorry, guys. I am determined.
We made it into our miscellaneous topics.
Oh, what are you eating?
Yeah.
What are you eating?
I am eating couscous.
What?
What?
That's not Super Bowl Sunday food. You need like pork rinds or something, right?
I don't watch the Super Bowl.
Okay, anyway.
Why would I?
Anyway, you need chips and dip and all that, okay? Anyway.
Now Netter's heard you say pork rinds, and she's going to go, Alexa, add pork rinds to the shopping list.
You know what I saw in the store? I've never eaten a pork rind before, but they have Slim Jim brand pork rinds now. You can buy in a bag.
Why not?
Okay. Anyway,
why not? That actually doesn't sound bad.
The new news, Charlie.
I like Slim Jims. I like pork rinds.
Do you know what I miss? They used to sell the fancy Slim Jims. They were like the more expensive kind with the natural casing, and they had like the smoked pork flavor or like the Tennessee beef or something. I don't know. And they stopped selling them though. But anyway, because they were probably too pricey. Because people buy Slim Jims want something cheap. But
you kind of lost me on fancy Slim Jims. I can't even imagine.
They existed and they were excellent, and I miss them anyway. Let's move on. Charlie and the Chocolate Factory prequel movie titled Wonka set for 2023 release date. Now, unfortunately, the People article that this was related to has now gone defunct, but I have another article I'm going to post. New Willy Wonka movie lands release date. Major young stars eyed for role. Now, who could you see as a young Willy Wonka in this day and age out of all the young stars?
Will Smith's son, maybe. Look, I mean, I don't care who they cast. When you look at the fact that the last Willy Wonka film did just so flippin' well, and everybody loved it so much.
I'm sure the Burton movie turned in a profit, or at least they were able to sell it as that. Okay, all right. Anyway, here's the article. For nearly 5 years, Warner Brothers has been developing a new Willy Wonka movie that will explore the character's early days before he became the king of candy. And today, the studio announced it will release Wonka on March 17th, 2023. They better get cracking. Okay. It's like 2 years away almost. Okay.
Yeah. Sources
say that Warner's has its eyes on either Tom Holland or Timothée Chalamet to play the eccentric confectioner. Okay, Holland is turning 23 years old, while Chalamet just turned 25. And not only will they be competing for roles for years to come, they are two of Hollywood's most recognizable and talented leading men under 30. While it's unclear whether Holland or Chalamet are actively pursuing the part, it's easy to see Chalamet as a younger version of Johnny Depp's take on Wonka, whereas Holland is a more of a song and dance man in the vein of a young Gene Wilder.
Interesting.
To be clear, neither has been offered the role of Wonka, but let's be honest, there are only so many young actors Warner Brothers would agree to finance this film with, as I'd imagine they'd want it to spark a franchise.
Unless they start doing what we've been saying all along and stop looking at the overpriced, in quotes, talents in Hollywood and start looking at the entry-level people that are every bit as talented, but people don't know.
They might make Willy Wonka a girl played by Millie Bobby Brown. Don't give them ideas, dude. But what was I going to say? I
No,
could
no, no,
see.
no. It won't be Millie Bobby Brown. I think she's outlived her usefulness to the powers that be. It'll have to be someone of color. They'll make Willy Wonka, like you said, female, but she's going to be a lesbian, and she's fighting the patriarchy with candy.
Yeah.
And then it's going to be eviscerated on Twitter because they're going to go, oh,
Haters.
Oh, really? So, in other words, a woman pushing chocolate. You're going after the whole PMS thing now.
I think Willy Wonka could work fine as long as it's the original story. There's no reason why this movie couldn't be good. Okay. And Millie Bobby Brown, as far as I'm concerned, I for some reason there's like fanatics that hate her, and I don't understand why. I
have nothing against her.
Yeah. Oh no, I know you don't. You were just giving her as an example about living out uses. I could see I could see her being a leading lady, like how when they used to invest in actors and make them lead actors.
Yeah.
I could see her being one of those as she goes into young adulthood. Tom Holland, yeah, actually, I could see him as a young Willy Wonka. Actually, I think that would be a good role for him. Actually, especially if they did it like a musical and they actually would try and do it like in the style maybe of the Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory I grew up with. That might be a fun movie, and it could be about his adventures around the world.
Do you see them doing that?
Of course not. It's going to be crap. But
right, it's going to be dark and dour, and
then it'll be the other actor, who I guess is playing Paul Atreides in the Dune movie. Am I thinking correctly who that actor is?
Yeah, if we ever see that Dune movie.
Yeah. Well, that's a whole nother disaster. The director of that is
and no, we'll see the first movie, and we'll never see the second half of it. We'll never see the sequels because
he's very angry. He wanted that to it. He said that's at least 2 movies. He said,
yeah,
and he says that they're sabotaging it. We talked about that a few weeks ago, and I'm angry for him too.
I think everyone involved in that movie is pissed.
Yeah.
And all the fans that wanted to see that movie and wanted to love it are pissed.
Okay. There's no reason why a Willy Wonka prequel can't work, though. We know Hollywood, but maybe they'll just do the right thing, right?
Actually, I'll tell you exactly why it can't work, because they'd be working on ground that, there's no story there.
That's true.
What they should be doing is a sequel. They should do Willy Wonka and the Great Glass Elevator.
Yeah, that makes more sense, actually.
But then what do they do a sequel to? To the Gene Wilder, to the Johnny Depp? They would have to make it something completely different, and it would come out like Return to Oz.
I actually like Return to Oz.
I do too, but you can't see it as a sequel to
No, and I think even when you're seeing the movie, it's intended as a sequel to the book, not necessarily the MGM movie,
which is weird. It's a sequel to
weird.
No movie that ever existed.
Yeah, and so I'm wondering if you're supposed to take it as a sequel to the book. I Return to Oz has been on my mind lately. I need to revisit it. I need to revisit it. I remember watching it on the Disney Channel when I was a kid. Apparently it got a DVD release, and I never even knew it got a DVD release many years ago. And like I said, it's on Disney Plus right now. And if you want to see it, it has that creepy witch woman that removes her head, or is she a queen or something? Remember that? She had all the different heads, and she's not even the main villain. It's
and a very young Fairuza Balk too. So.
Yeah, it's weird when you watch it now. I didn't even recognize her. Now that you see her and her, okay, I can see that it is. It's like looking at a young, what's her name? The one who played Hermione in Harry Potter. Because I was watching the first movie recently. Oh, I forgot she was that young at one point.
Feminist von Manhater. Yeah.
Yes. Well,
what? Did I get her name wrong?
Hey, listen, she spoke before the UN. Okay.
Wonder Woman was made the honorary something or other to the UN. That means nothing to me.
No, do you remember when that happened? No, did you remember the controversy behind that? She got made like the honorary thing, and they kicked it out. They said no. And I think the UN says, "Oh, she's too American" or whatever. It's like, "Oh, it's America's dominance. We have to remove her as the honorary whatever, like the ambassador."
No, what it came down to was it's a fictional damn character. It's meaningless and stupid.
Okay, but my point is that when they removed her, I thought it was dumb. For starters, Wonder Woman herself is not American. She's Greek if she's any nationality. Okay. And she fights for she honors America. She came here to fight for us in the World War II because we were on the right side. That was the whole story, right? Okay, wearing the colors of the
but she is a fictional character.
I know she's a fictional character.
Cannot hold. I mean, that would be like nominating a fictional character as president of the United States. Oh wait, we've done that. Never mind.
Anyway, my point was though is that I wish that someone had made a meme. Okay. Because I'll have those memes like Hayao Miyazaki saying anime was a mistake because it was a quote taken out of context, and they had other people saying like Satoru Miyamoto, the guy that made Mario Brothers, video games were a mistake. Al Gore, the internet was a mistake. All these things.
Yeah,
I wanted them to do one for Wonder Woman. It says Wonder Woman, the United Nations was a mistake. I don't know why no one picked up on that because they kicked her out of the spokesperson. Yeah. I don't know. That I made a meme. I just never actually made it. So there you go. Okay.
And the thing about memes is you got to strike while when
the iron's hot. No one's going to remember now. Okay. But
tell me about Denzel Washington.
Yeah, that's the good story tonight. Not everything we have is negative. Yeah, let's go on to this. Denzel Washington declares his support for police and American soldiers, shows his disgust for those who disparage them. What?
I know. Imagine that.
I'm going to say this about Denzel Washington. I think another commentator made this point.
He had a good career.
Even when he's in a bad movie, he's still acting well in that bad movie. I mean, he's always been a good actor. It will
never be because of Denzel that a movie sucks.
Yes, and I am very happy to see this. I didn't even realize that this is where his thoughts lie. I always like his movies regardless, and I'm very happy.
I've always been one. Your politics really do not matter to me, but it is nice when I can look at someone and go, oh, they got a brain in their head.
Or just some common decency.
Yeah.
This is what I like. Legendary actor Denzel Washington, whose career includes Man on Fire, Training Day, Remember the Titans, and Malcolm X. Yeah, those are all good movies, actually. Recently declared his support for both the police and American soldiers. I had a question mark because it's like Washington's comments came while speaking with Yahoo Entertainment for his upcoming film, The Little Things, where he plays Joe Deacon, a disgraced Los Angeles sheriff's detective hunting down a serial killer. Washington stated, I have the utmost respect for what they do, for what our soldiers do, people that sacrifice their lives. He added, I just don't care for people who put those kind of people down. If it weren't for them, we would not have the freedom to complain about what they do.
Yeah.
And he even says his appreciation for law enforcement came when he did a ride-along with a law enforcement agency while doing prep work for his 1991 film Ricochet, where he played Nick Stiles, a police officer turned district attorney. Washington explained, I went out on a call with a sergeant. We got a call of a man outside his house with a rifle that was distraught. We pulled up and did a U-turn past the house and came up short of the house. He told me to sit in the car, which I was going to do. I wasn't getting out. He got out. As he got out, another car came screaming up, and two young people jumped out screaming. As it turned out, it was their grandfather. This policeman diffused the entire situation by just remaining calm. But it showed me in an instant how they can lose their life. He didn't overreact. He could have pulled his gun out and shot the people that came up driving past.
Yep.
He could have shot the old man that was distraught and a bit confused. I think he was suffering a little bit from dementia. But in an instant, it taught me, and I never forgot it, what our law enforcement people have to deal with moment to moment, second to second, he added. So these are very pleasing words to me. I don't know if I mentioned this I was on the Professor Geek stream recently, but my father was a police officer. So, I was hearing a lot of nasty things, painting entire organizations in our country with a very broad brush this summer. So I'm very thankful to see an actor actually sticking up for people who really do put their lives on the line for all of us every day. It's, the people in the armed forces, people in the police, in our police. So hats off to Denzel for this. Yeah. And plus size Denzel's the man. Glad he has not let Hollywood get to him. Well, he in my opinion is the real Hollywood. Okay, he's the Hollywood I grew up with. Okay, there are a lot of other good actors too. These great leading men that we've had over the years. And like I said, I made a point that Hollywood these days seems to have trouble getting leading men. I think Chris Hemsworth is an example of someone who could be a modern leading man, but they're not really giving the new leading men much of a chance, I think. But
yeah. Whenever I hear something like this, somebody who's not a police officer, who's not, in the military, who hasn't served, who just says, I really appreciate what they do for me, so that I can live the life that I do. I know the character is supposed to be seen as the bad guy, but that speech that what's his name? Well, the character's name is Jessup. That famous actor that played the Joker, that he gives in A Few Good Men.
Jack Nicholson.
Thank you. That speech always comes back to me. When he says, you don't want the truth because deep down in places you don't talk about at parties. You want me on that wall. You need me on that wall. We use words like honor, code, loyalty. We use those words as the backbone for life spent defending something. You use them as a punchline. I have neither the time nor the inclination to explain myself to a man who rises and sleeps under the blanket of the very freedom that I provide and then questions the manner in which I provide it. I would rather you just say thank you and went on your way. Otherwise, I suggest you pick up a weapon and stand the post. Either way, I don't give a damn what you think you are entitled to. I have internalized that.
Yeah.
Every time I never say this directly, I try never to say it directly, but whenever I indirectly show appreciation for a police officer or for someone in the military, inside myself, I am saying these things about myself. You didn't serve, they did.
Yes.
And that person is standing before you by divine providence because they could just as easily have given up their life to provide for you the freedom that you enjoy. Yeah.
And like we're saying, Denzel was saying the same thing. We don't appreciate the people that put those people down,
Yeah. And unfortunately, we live in an era of people sitting behind their keyboards, who think they know everything and, put down everybody. And it's like, yeah, then pick up a weapon and go stand a post or shut your mouth. Okay. But that's just what they want. They want to open up the borders. They want, everybody to sing Kumbaya and hold hands. And that's not how reality works, you dumbass.
No. It's like that the South Park safe space thing where the reality's knocking at the door and you're the bad guy, reality. He has like the twisted mustache. And he's just saying what, he's just giving people telling the people what they don't want to hear about things,
and I say this all the time. You want open borders? Tell me, do you lock your doors at night? Do you leave your car unlocked when you go into a store with the windows down? Do you? If not, then shut the hell up.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of hypocrisy out there these days.
Yeah.
Like people changing laws, and then the very laws that they help change, they're going to get in trouble for, and then they're calling the police to help them out. As we've heard in the news. You may have heard about that. Who watches cop shows? Not sure what you mean. I think Cops got taken off the air, didn't it?
I had heard that they after they said they were going to take it off, they ended up putting it back on for another season. But I'll be honest with you, I even said when they were talking about taking it off the air, I said I don't see that as being a huge loss because I think the ratings were going down for a long time anyway.
Yeah. Well, there you go. And they were just using that as an excuse to get virtue signaling points, I guess.
Yeah.
But the Twitter wars are usually the first people call the police. Oh yeah, I saw plenty of that. They're the first ones to yell.
Look at Alyssa Milano. I said it. The opinions of Troy Pacelli do not necessarily represent Aged Boomer and the Aged Boomer Show.
It's you're fine, dude. Even if your opinions don't reflect it, this is a free speech zone. Okay, all right. Remember that.
I don't want someone, bringing a lawsuit against you,
Well, I don't know.
defamation or something like
I
that.
don't know what you said that would bring a lawsuit anyway. But anyway,
well, yeah. So far,
about Alyssa Milano. Okay,
Yeah.
I'm terrified. Okay, maybe. Well, I'll edit it later. Okay. You're
No,
a perfect. You're a
I
perfect
didn't actually
princess.
say
We all
anything,
love you.
but I might have done. So I won't.
Okay, gotcha. But I was watching Dirty Harry Magnum Force last night, though, so I was excited about that. Hal Holbrook recently passed away, so I was kind of watching that because he's in that movie
Yeah.
as his superior that keeps saying, Callahan, what are you doing? That sort of. He's in that.
Well, we were talking about that on Saturday. We lost a lot of people recently, but I'm realizing, we're talking about people in their 90s. It's like, yeah, it sucks, but you kind of can't blame 2020 and 2021 when they've gotten that old. You can't expect anybody to live forever.
Oh, that's interesting, Casey Scott. That's true. And Hal Holbrook was pretty old. I saw him play Mark Twain live on stage once. And when I was on, it was like Mark Twain was on the stage. There was no actor there. That's what it felt like in that audience.
Wow.
Okay, that's how good he was as Mark Twain. But Casey Scott, they took a cop show off A&E and they lost half their viewers. It doesn't surprise me. What is on A&E besides that though these days?
Well, it's neither art nor entertaining.
Were they the ones that did the biography shows? They would do A&E biography. Wasn't that their big claim to fame?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't remember because I keep thinking are they the Mad Men Walking Dead channel? But no, that's AMC. So I don't know what A&E.
I'll be honest with you. I don't really know what these channels are anymore. Back when they were first named on cable, the History Channel was actually history. Now it's all ancient aliens and finding Bigfoot. I mean.
Hey,
seriously,
this is potential future history.
I used to make jokes with a buddy of mine. I used to say that that the History Channel was all German National Soviets all the time, but at least it was actual history. Now it's reality TV.
I know the joke you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now it's reality. And I have to say, what was A&E originally? It was like opera, like Luciano.
It was arts and entertainment.
Sort of yeah, and it like maybe stuff about great artists, like art gallery stuff, I guess.
Yeah, and they used. Yeah, you're right. At late night, they used to have opera. They used to have classic, the type of things that you used to see on PBS when I was a kid.
That sounds like a great idea for a channel.
But they pitched that and they decided to make it about moonshiners and I don't know what all.
Well, that's because that stuff is not for us.
And diet, how much weight can you lose? Channel and for crying out.
Well, that's because we're all peasants now and we have to be treated as such, I guess. Okay. All right. Anyway, let's move on to the big Universal horror news. This is kind of in your wheelhouse. In fact,
so this Friday we got, as I mentioned about having a group on MeWe where we're imagining a world where DC Comics expanded universe actually was done well. I also have a group where we're fixing the Universal Monsters Dark Universe, that dark universe that they announced and with much fanfare that died when they put out that new Mummy movie. So I imagine if I was to be put in charge, how I would have done it, and I would have done it well, and I would have done it better. Well, apparently Universal has not, doesn't want to listen to Troy and doesn't want to listen to the Professor Geek community because they're moving ahead with Dracula, with giving him a sci-fi Western reimagining.
Okay, Mr. Frowny Face or Sourfoot or whatever. I'm going to read from this article and I'll let the chat decide for themselves. Okay, please.
Yeah, go for it.
A little respect and.
I'm sorry, I shouldn't.
And don't be negative.
I shouldn't assume your opinions for
Don't assume my opinion. Okay, right. Listen up, guys. Eternals director Chloe Zhao has been tapped.
I'm in. Definitely now.
Can you not interrupt when I'm reading? Okay, all right. This is important. This is going to change.
This is going to change my opinion. Right?
This is going to be a reimagining of Dracula. Okay, has been tapped to a reimagined Dracula as a science fiction western for Universal Studios.
Sorry, I can't keep a straight face.
Keep quiet. I'm keeping a straight face because I find this. I'm very curious about this.
Oh,
I've always been fascinated by vampires and the concept of the other they embody. Zhao, who will write, produce, and direct this new take on Dracula, said in a release, "I'm very excited to work with Donna, Peter, and the team at Universal to reimagine a beloved character." This is another quote. Chloe's singular lens shines a light on stories of the overlooked and misunderstood, Universal Pictures president Peter Kramer said. "We are thrilled to be working with her as she reimagines one of the most iconic outsider characters ever created." I'm excited. I'm pumped. Come on.
Here's the inherent problem with that last sentence. You use reimagined and iconic in the same damn sentence. If you don't see a problem with that, there is the problem.
Listen, Dracula is a misunderstood character. Dracula is, in my opinion, one of the greatest villains ever written in literature, and
he's never been put on screen. Period.
He can't be a villain anymore. That's what I'm thinking. He's the other, the outsider. My Casey
Scott, Eternals director. So Dracula is gay now. Yes, he is. The BBC just did that, or whatever.
Oh, I didn't watch that. The Moffat Show. Oh no.
Yeah.
No.
That's already done. That's old hat already.
What? This is my theory about all this stuff. Okay. Dracula is a villain and a monster, or a bit of both, right? That's how I've seen him portrayed. Okay.
Right.
In literature and in many great movies. Okay.
Yeah.
And my problem is that when they're doing this thing, I often wonder if people in Hollywood, they identify too much with the villain to the point where, the villain's not really all that bad. It's,
Well, here's the problem when it comes to Dracula, okay? Gay, straight, I don't care, because I'll be honest with you, when Nanette roasts a chicken and brings it to me, I don't think about having sex with it.
Yeah. Actually, that was a funny line on True Blood where the one of the vampires wouldn't feed on someone and then do it with them at the same time. That's gross. That was gross to them,
That makes sense to me.
Oh man, no, I'm sorry, Dracula. I'm your Huckleberry. Yep, that's good. That'll be in the movie. I have a Dracula science fiction western, and
wait a minute. You could convince me that a Dracula western has a place. Okay, so if late 1800s Dracula is set in England, okay, early 1900s Dracula could be in the American West. Okay, he emigrates to the U.S., whatever, starts his empire out in California or something. Fine. What is the sci-fi element then?
Well, science fiction. He'll be an alien. He'll be from planet Zeist.
Oh God.
I don't know what's going on anymore. You know what? I know what's going on. People are doing drugs while they're coming up at these team meetings. That's what's going on. I don't understand. And stop using the word "the other" for the vampire. Okay, stop it, please. The whole point of the vampire is that it's
not the other as in an alien or whatever.
It's not the foreigner.
It is an elemental. Like the devil or like the hurricane that destroys your city.
Yes.
You don't reason with it. You don't make love to it. Okay. You don't try to understand it. You just don't die from it.
And try to take it out or imprison it or something. I don't understand this. I'm old fashioned when it comes to vampires, and I want an old fashioned vampire, and we can't get an old fashioned vampire anymore. We haven't had an old fashioned vampire for what, like 30 years. I'm tired of this.
A good reimagining would be to actually go back and tell the story of Dracula, which they've never done before.
Well, I'll say this. I love the Hammer Dracula movies too, and they deviate a bit from the Stoker novel, but it's still Dracula.
Yeah.
It's still horror movies. He's still a monster.
And that's just it. I would say Bela Lugosi came about as close as I've ever seen on screen. You know, actually, the ironically named Bram Stoker's Dracula would have been a great movie if you completely took out that whole stupid love story that was never in the original story. That's some hubris to call it Bram Stoker's Dracula and then add this whole love scene and story that was never in the book in the first place.
Yes, I remember the Bram Stoker's Dracula movie. Oh, my dad was funny because that was family night. We were watching the video, and of course we get to the beast scene where he's the beast, and he. Who is it? Lucy, who in the garden maze, and he goes, "What is this, a porno?" And he got all angry.
Yeah,
it was one of those embarrassing moments, like where you're not supposed to be watching something with your parents, like that. But what did I want to say though? But what's funny though? Big Al and I were watching that with Mr. Matchstick on the soundtracks of Birdman because that's a great score.
Great
of the movie.
Score.
And
that Annie Lennox tune. Oh
yeah.
God.
Oh yeah, and we were watching it, and there's the scene in it where he gets the letter from, was it Mina? Did they reverse Lucy and Mina in that? No, it was Mina. Okay,
no, it was Hammer that did that.
Yeah, okay, yeah. Mina writes the letter saying, "I can't be with you. I'm going with Jonathan Harker." Yeah. And I said at that point, "Oh, he got a Dear Vlad letter." Sorry.
That's
funny. I don't know. You know what this is telling me? Dracula Untold, for as many problems I have with the movie, is still one of the better Dracula movies of recent years because I could have seen how it could have been good, and I might discuss that this Friday on your stream.
I would appreciate that because I am going to touch on that.
Go ahead.
I do think that story has to be told, and to be honest with you, the casting I thought was great too.
There was a good framework in that movie.
Yeah,
I think it fell apart at the very end. I was on board until it falls apart at the very end because I liked the idea because, let's face facts, Vlad Tepes in Romania, he's considered a hero.
Yes.
But then you have this mythical character, Dracula, who's this great villain. Like, how do you combine the two? And that movie was kind of figuring it out, okay?
Yeah, it actually
and it's like a devil's bargain to save your country, but then what do you become? That's sort of what it was going with.
But you have to make it a villain story without a redemptive arc. I mean, he literally gives up his soul, and so he is no longer, Vladislav anymore. He is now a soulless creature.
Yes.
And so as you go forward with that character, he doesn't redeem himself. He doesn't get his soul back. He is a villain,
Or if you wanted to go that route, you could do it, but do it in a later movie. Don't do it in that movie. Like maybe have a movie where he's the villain. Okay. We'll talk about it more on Friday. Okay. But
absolutely.
I had my own ideas of how they could have done that, because Dracula is a fascinating character regardless. I mean, he's one of the more interesting monsters. I've seen him portrayed different ways. It's funny in the original book, he is kind of thuggish though, underneath all of the, larger than life stuff.
The Carpathian warlord is definitely there in his character.
Yeah, he's not the mastermind I sometimes see him portrayed in other things. Yeah. Like in those wall chicken games.
Yeah,
as you call them.
Although I would say he could grow into that. I mean, if you're a vampire and you live for hundreds of years, hopefully you gain some wisdom as you go along.
Yeah,
you get smarter, you get more patient, or hopefully you do.
Yes. Well, maybe. I mean, but they like doing the love story with Dracula too. That's the other thing. That's probably when things started to turn. He's still Dracula, but they start bringing the love story into it.
But see, if you're going to do that, then you've got to do something with the female vampire characters, the three wives, so to speak. I've got some plans for that too. We'll talk about that on Friday too.
I like the Three Wives in the Coppola movie, but anyway, that's neither here nor there.
I'm with you, but I think that lends itself to. I mean, you want to do your spin-offs. You do your Bride of Dracula, and you do Elizabeth Bathory, and you do there's something to be said for that. There's some stories to be told before we even get to the Bram Stoker's novel.
Oh yeah. So, also Carmilla, the Karnstein vampires. The neat thing about the Hammer movies is that the Hammer movies tended to be standalone, but sometimes they would do sequels. It was like the Dracula movies; they got sequels.
Well, they did a Carmilla trilogy.
They had actually. I would say it's 4. Because I think Captain Kronos is included with those.
I've never seen it. It is on my to see list.
Yeah, because I think the family name is a little different, but it sounds like Karnstein, and I think it's supposed to be in that universe, the Captain Kronos Vampire Hunter, and you also have Twins of Evil, which is a great Hammer movie. It's one of my favorites.
I wore out the VHS tape.
You can get it on DVD.
Oh yeah, I know. I'm just saying.
Oh, are you saying you? Oh, because of the Collinson twins, yes.
Yeah, because
apparently had been in Playboy. Apparently they had been in Playboy as well. So anyway, that's neither.
I know that too.
Okay, but the neat thing about Twins of Evil, though, it's a great.
I was a terrible teenager. I really was.
It's fine. It's fine. We all have our anyway. We all looked under the sink. Anyway, in the basement.
Yeah,
okay,
right.
I'm not going to say anything anymore on that. Okay, what was I going to say though? But no,
it was
Twins
the garage at my house. But yeah.
Okay, yeah. Anyway, Twins of Evil though had a it had a great performance by Peter Cushing though, as basically the Puritan witch hunter in that. And that's a terrifying performance by him. And they said his wife had died like recently before that. Oh. He was very distraught over that. Like he was almost wanting to die so he could just be with her again. That's how much he loved his wife. So it's a great performance by Peter Cushing, a great Hammer movie too. One of my favorites. And it's funny because it doesn't come from like the glory days. It comes from like the 70s when the studio's winding down, but it's still one of my favorites. Here's
the irony, Boomer. We're talking about these movies from the 60s and such and so fondly, right? Nobody is going to be talking about this Dracula sci-fi Western fondly. Probably they're going to be saying, can you believe somebody came up with this idea?
It might be if it becomes like a famous B movie like Howard the Duck. I don't know. Seven
Brothers Meet Dracula or something like that,
Oh, I know the one you're talking about. That's the Kung Fu one. Oh, yeah? Man.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, man. No.
I've got both versions of it on DVD.
The funny thing about that movie was I made a joke once that, what was it? Van Helsing is like he's he's in Hong Kong explaining like about vampires. And like all the students in Hong Kong, they're like, China, they're like, we're an advanced country and you're peddling these nonsensical vampire myths. Who do you think we are? And they just walk out of the room. And I thought that was funny.
Yeah.
Oh man. And I don't know. Okay. So let me go ahead and we're going to post this next story because we are going to do it. I've been trying to do this story.
We're going to get to it.
We're going to get to the Russia is banning anime for some reason. I kept thinking that was something.
Russia.
I kept thinking that was something you wrote. Yes, you put the hammer and sickle on. They're not communist anymore, we think.
Yeah, I know.
Okay. That was a thing, though. Did you ever watch that series, The Americans? It's worth checking out if you haven't. It was a recent series. It was about Russian spies in the United States during the 80s. So you get kind of an 80s nostalgia thing in it.
Sure. There's
a funny line in it where this one kid's saying, I'm thinking about going to see that Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan. I didn't care for the last Star Trek movie, but maybe this one will be better. And I'm like, he has no idea what he's in for, But, they have little trinkets of that. But it's mainly about the Russian spies in the 80s. And I'm watching the show.
Mm-hmm.
And I forgot how much I hated the Soviets when I was a kid in the 80s.
Yeah.
Visceral, nasty fear came up. Because after the Cold War happened, I want peace with the Russians. Nothing against Russia. But then wish they wouldn't. Well, anyway, that's another. I won't get into that.
Well, no, I had a friend after Nanette and I got married in the 90s. I met a guy, Costas. He came over from Russia, and I was talking with him like, I struggle so hard with the fact that, I grew up in the 80s just hating the Russians. He goes, did you really hate Russians, or did you just hate communism?
Yeah.
And I was like, oh yeah, yeah. It was pretty much the Soviet Union I hated, not the
That's why I
Russian
just used
people
the word
themselves.
Soviets.
He's
Okay.
like, that's why I'm here. Meaning he came to the United States. I'm like, oh, I see.
There you go. Yeah, what was terrifying for people living over there? Remember Yakov Smirnov? He had a whole career based on just saying what was going on over there. Remember?
Oh gosh. I mean, he's going to have to go out of the United States to continue making jokes now because I'm telling you, comrade, things have changed here now.
A little bit, yeah, a little bit. Well, we're going to see what happens over the next 6 months. It's going to be interesting.
But for now, we can still enjoy anime here. Apparently, we can't in Russia. What's going on over there?
This is a little terrifying. Okay, a Russian court has banned 3 animes, while 3 more are still under consideration. And it seems that Russia is having its anime scare moment. A Russian court just handed out a ban on Death Note, Tokyo Ghoul, and Inuyashiki. I'm not familiar with that one. For what it says is excessive violence that might influence teen behavior. The Moscow Times report quoted a decision from St. Petersburg Kolpinsky District Court, which banned the 3 animes because every episode contains cruelty, murder, and violence. The publication noted the court's concern that these themes could influence teen behavior in the country and therefore banned the animes on several websites. This is interesting to me because we had a comics. We have moral panics over here too. The government tends not to get involved. They tend to rather let the industry themselves police themselves. Like the government will kind of do a nudge and say, hey, listen, comic book industry, you're still protected under the First Amendment, but maybe you might want to police yourselves. Just so maybe it doesn't have to get to that point where we would have to intervene. I mean, that's not exactly what they said in the 50s, but that was sort of what happened with all the horror comics in the 50s. They all got banned, and they got banned because stores wouldn't sell anything without a Comics Code label on it. Remember the Comics Code Authority?
Yep.
But Russia's just banning these things outright.
Here's the problem I see immediately, and I am the new. I can't even say noob. I'm the complete unknown when it comes to anime and whatnot. It's not something I follow, but it is my understanding that it is a form of entertainment that just because it happens to be animated, people tend to think of it as being for kids, but it is not necessarily intended for kids. Am I right?
Oh, no. Yeah. I mean, Death Note, I would argue, is intended for teenagers. I think. I don't know what Tokyo Ghoul is. I'm not going to say maybe at a certain public institution that someone may work for. Maybe the category for the manga may have changed from teen to adult section, but that's neither here nor there. I don't know, in case I can't get that out over the air. Okay.
In Japan, I know that manga is consumed by all age groups. It's not, just for children. Am I right about that?
Yeah, well, it's all ages. It's all groups.
Right.
That's the thing about Japanese animation. Like, anyone can find something they like if they want to get into it. There's a lot of science fiction anime. They have categories over there. Like they have different words for it. Like some are made for or like masculine adult manga. For guys that want to see guys shooting people and beating people up.
It is an entertainment
stuff for
medium.
Little girls. Yeah,
it's an entertainment medium, just like cinema is. You would not say, well, all cinema is for children. No, because we have PG-13, we have R-rated, we have pornography. These are not for children. And there are age groups that are. Anime is the same way. You don't ban it. You just say, look, this is for people, I don't know, maybe 17 and older. You set your criteria,
Yeah.
I mean, but you're right. You go through these periods of moral panic, and it's like, oh, just shut it all down. And that's great. Let's go back to the book burnings, and maybe let's burn a few witches while we're at it. What the hey?
Yeah, well, we have our own moral panics going on in this country right now.
Exactly.
So I almost don't even want to throw.
It's not like we can really, cast aspersions anymore.
It's just showing up differently over here. For instance, they mentioned that one of the animes under consideration for banning was called Interspecies Reviewers. Now, I want to make a
Brian
point.
Gilmartin, we still do have an NC-17 in the MPAA rating system. It's just hardly ever used.
It is.
Because they always, if they're going to get an NC-17 rating, they'll push to make it an R. Or if it's getting an R rating, they'll push to get PG-13 and it's all for marketing reasons.
We are supposed to have, the point is the compromise I always thought was rating systems, this is what blocks people from seeing things. You don't want to watch this kind of thing. Don't go see the R-rated movie, the NC-17 movie.
Well, or like video games where, it's not a hard line, you can't obtain the thing, but we're suggesting that,
actually, no, I'll say this. M-rated games, you cannot sell an M-rated game to a teenager or someone under. A parent can come in and buy it for them, then the store's hands are tied. But you can get into major trouble. I think in some places, if you sell an M-rated game to someone underage, you'll get fired. Okay.
Gotcha.
You don't do that. Now, if a parent buys it for them, you give them for the parent. It's an M-rated game. Don't get you may want to think twice. Grand Theft Auto. They want to buy it for the kid. They're going to buy it for the kid. Okay.
Yeah.
But I want to make a point though that Interspecies Reviewers was mentioned. Funimation, an anime distributor over here, did get the rights to release Interspecies Reviewers over here, and they dropped it. It's not getting released over here. And that is not the government censoring, but that is an anime company that bought the rights that decided we don't want the heat or we disagree with the content in this, and we're not bringing it out over here. So the stuff happens over here as well. Okay.
Yeah.
I've seen content in video games that's considered, problematic, I guess would be the modern word for it. Okay. Not PC that they've had to censor over here. Okay. Yeah. And, it's gotten worse. We used to have a wonderful period years ago where they were not censoring games. And now we've kind of gone back to that a little bit. And I think now game companies are now trying to work around it and figure out what are they going to have a problem with over there in the West that we won't put that in here, but still kind of, have some decent art,
Yeah. Joshua V said, he said, I don't know any NC-17 films considering myself being around that age. The few films that have gotten NC-17 ratings tend to be kind of artsy types of films that deal with very strong subject matters, usually sexual.
It's not for violence usually.
Usually not. No, in fact, I can't even imagine what you'd have to do in a film these days to get an NC-17 because of violence. When you consider some of the torture porn films that are out there.
Yeah, Roger Ebert and Roper got very angry when the movie Hannibal came out because they were basically saying, this got an R rating. They will never give a NC-17 for violence because this movie got released with.
And and they were absolutely right because look at Human Centipede. That didn't get an NC-17 rating. I know. Just what I know of it. Of course, I've never seen the movie. I have no interest in seeing it. Just knowing the basic content, but.
Casey Scott says Interspecies Reviewers is on DVD. I'm sorry. I thought I had read somewhere months back that they were not going to release it. Maybe that was a rumor then. I could have swore I read something that wasn't, okay, but I'll take your word for it. Okay. I thought they weren't going to release it.
So my recommendation to Casey Scott and to Aged Boomer is if this is something you like, make sure you obtain that physical media and own it so they can never take it away from you.
Okay. What is this? Star Wars Droids Prince. Were you going to talk about those?
So last week when we were talking about Star Wars, it was really originally something that I wanted to bring up in our pre-show, and I missed my opportunity.
Okay.
Netter sent me an article about the U.S. Postal Service has just released a series of droid-related stamps. Once again, kind of showing the popularity of Star Wars. It's out there. As long as you kind of stay away from anything related to the sequel trilogy. Although I think BB-8 might have been one of the droids. I know that one of the droids was, that's too small for me to see. Hold on a second. We're having some technical difficulties over here. I think BB-8 was one of them. I know that the droid from What was the Rogue One? He's one of the droids in the stamp collection. But yeah, I mean, the marketing's there.
Why is the U.S. Postal Service always? Never mind. Anyway,
they need money. They will.
Oh,
market.
I see. Oh, I see. It's a dual thing. Okay, that makes sense now.
Yeah, so it's IG-88, R2D2, the one from Rogue One, BB-8, C-3PO, the Gonk droid, 21B, Chopper from Rebels, the goofy pansexual one from Han Solo, and a wheel with a green funnel on its head. I don't really know what that droid is. B0, B4, B something.
Well, I'm sure he has a whole new book series written about him in the High Republic line of novels. Anyway, Casey Scott makes a point. Sentai works. You know what I bet happened? Maybe Funimation decided they weren't going to bring it out after all, dropped the rights to it, and somebody else picked it up. Maybe that's what happened. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, but okay, yes, but I think we're running toward the end now. I think Mr. Magic has a stream on tonight, correct?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, they're doing Konosuba. They mentioned they were going to do Konosuba.
Yeah. So from here, get over to as long as we're on the anime
and check it out before it gets banned. No.
That's right. Exactly right. Exactly.
Because I think it has. I'm sure it has nice looking women on it. So that's always a problem. Okay.
Oh yeah, can't have that. No. You know, over on Clownfish, Geeky Sparkles was going off about, you know, how she feels persecuted against because I guess women are no longer allowed to have boobs. And she's like, no, some of us larger women, we have boobs. And, you know, I can't have representation because you don't have them. And, you know, that upsets you. Get over it.
Yeah, no, that's basically it. Yeah, that's it in video games. I can tell you right now, any Western developed game, no, you're going to have a set body type for women. Okay.
Yeah.
But anyway,
and then, but that's exactly, that's a whole other topic. But you know, women are the male gaze and blah 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 blah, and you got to find, you know, all sizes beautiful and stuff. Well, you know what? We might find the plus. In fact, we do find the more plus size, in quotes, plus size women to be attractive. But you shut that down because you think boobs are evil. Therefore, we have no choice but to see, you know, women with boy bodies.
Yep. Well, maybe flappers will get back into style. Anyway, let's. I don't know why I just pulled that out.
Skidoo.
Okay. What?
22 skidoo.
22 skidoo. There you go. This should be like the 20s now, right? Where we're all partying, but it's not. So
yeah, this is the
anti-20s. Can I go back to the other 20s? That'd be nice. I'd have more fun. That's the sad thing. I would have more fun in the 1920s than the 2020s. I bet that's going to be. I wish it was the 1920s rather than the 2020s. Someone should make that into a shirt.
But instead of the coof, it would be cholera or something like that. Or
but you know what? It didn't stop people from partying.
Anyway. That's absolutely right. Heck, prohibition didn't stop people from partying.
No, they found a way. Anyway.
No, people didn't just roll over and do whatever the government said. Oh, the views of Troy Pacelli are not necessarily reflected by Aged Boomer channel.
No, I support our corporate overlords. Okay. Anyway,
yeah, exactly. Exactly.
I'm a big fan of the Zuck. Okay. Anyway. In fact, I'll post the video.
And when does that Mandarin class start for you?
Oh man, yeah, I can then speak to Michelle Yu. See, I brought it back.
Yeah, brought it all full circle.
Actually, her English is pretty good. Because she's on Star Trek Discovery and she's the
better
best
than my Mandarin. I shouldn't joke. I probably better start learning it.
Yeah. Michelle Yeoh on Star Trek Discovery. I don't understand the world we're living in. Anyway, it's because she's a higher quality actor that probably should not be on that show. But anyway, on that note, you know,
no quality belongs on that show.
Yeah, that's true. Stuff going on this week. Sound Engraver tomorrow night, I believe. Other things, Tuesday night.
You know what? Horizon Talker has me thinking maybe I should check out this Konosuba thing.
You might like it because it's one of these types of anime where the character from our world ends up in an RPG style world where like all the rules apply. Like, you know, like gaining experience and learning skills and crafting.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's very it's like a whole thing over there. You might get a kick out of it as someone who plays.
Okay, guys, go check that out. Make sure you check out the rest of the community this week, and
Exactly.
Come over to my channel on Friday when if you have an interest in Universal Monsters, we'll try to fix the Universal Monsters universe.
Yeah, I'll try and stop by that stream as well. Even if I can only be on for a bit, I want to talk about Dracula Untold. Definitely.
Yep. Good. I'm glad, because that's one of the things I want to talk about too.
All right. Well, y'all have a good night, and there will be no bell or neighing because
I
don't have the sound. And Troy, you give the last word.
Hey, thanks everyone for putting up with us and enjoying our banter and contributing to it.
All right. Have a good night, y'all.
Bye-bye.